All right. Hey guys, how y'all doing? You know, I don't really know where to go with this because it's the whole thing is very frustrating to me and angering, and I think it should be angering and frustrating to everybody. This case of Krissy Tran out of Fort Smith, Arkansas. Let me give you a little bit of background about what's going on here. Krissy Tran, back a few years ago, was convicted for possession of, it was either an ounce or less of a weed. Some people call it marijuana. She didn't have it on her person. It was actually in the vehicle that she was in. But yet, she was young and was convinced to basically plead in exchange for probation and all that kind of stuff. And so she was convicted because she pled guilty to possession of marijuana. And then I think they got her for intent to distribute because the 2 ounces were each in a baggie or something like that. Or the ounce was in 2 baggies or something. However they made it out. So they got her with intent to distribute as well, even though there was no intent to distribute. And there's a car over here on its side. You don't see that every day. Interesting. Anyway, so last year, this has been going on for a little while. I believe it was almost a year ago, about 10 months ago or 11 months ago. Krissy was pregnant, 11 months pregnant, with her baby, who now is a very beautiful little boy. You should see him, he's pretty cool. And someone broke into her house and was raping her, was going to rape her. She grabbed her boyfriend's gun, her husband now, but her boyfriend at the time, grabbed her boyfriend's gun and shot the guy. The guy came at her again, she shot him again. This self-defense, it was ruled as self-defense, thankfully, the shooting, because that's exactly what it was self-defense. But now, what prosecutors over there are starting to do is they're trying to charge her with felon in possession of a firearm, folks. Felon in possession of a firearm. Now, let's back this up again, because the left and the gun control crowd loves to talk about, we got to keep guns out of the hands of dangerous felons. We're not talking about a dangerous felon here. We're talking about a young lady who had an ounce of weed, an ounce of marijuana, and was charged and basically threatened, because she didn't know any better, into pleading guilty to a crime that she probably should have fought. So someone who initially is a felon because she possessed a plant that is less dangerous than another plant that other people smoke, which is tobacco. So because she possessed a plant that the government said isn't a plant that people should be using, she became a felon. She got that label as a felon. And apparently, her life is now... apparently, the life of her child is meaningless in the eyes of government. Apparently, felons now, it's okay to rape them and steal from them. It's okay to threaten their lives. It's okay to rape their children or beat their children or sexually harass and molest their children, apparently, because by golly, they're felons. They don't have rights. They have no right to defend themselves. So what are they doing? So we have a problem now in Fort Smith where they're holding a hearing, we don't have a date yet, to revoke her probation because she's a, quote, felon in possession of a firearm that she used in self-defense in her own home that belonged to her boyfriend. And there's a lot of pressure being put on the Tran family right now, who, look, I believe he's in the National Guard or reserves. They don't have a lot of money. This is a young, budding family that is trying to make the most of their lives in peace. And because some thug that I'm so glad is dead right now, although it'd be nice if he was alive and I could beat the living hell out of him, but because some thug decided that he was going to interfere with Krissy's life and threaten her and her unborn child, because he made that decision to break into that house one day, Krissy now faces a felony charge of being in possession of a firearm because she had the unmitigated gall, the audacity to defend her life against a real criminal, against a real violent thug. Krissy's not violent. She never hurt anybody. And yet, the prosecutor, instead of recognizing, even though they've already ruled that it was self-defense, instead of just letting it go, what are they doing? The government is going after her for being a felon in possession of a firearm. If that doesn't piss you the flip off, I don't know what will. I'm going to put in the description to this video a link to the GoFundMe. Ladies and gentlemen, they need a good attorney. Not an attorney that's going to bend over, because they've got an attorney right now. And okay, I'm not, this is my opinion. This hasn't been communicated to me this way. But it appears to me, so I want to make sure I got this legal. It appears to me that they've got a spineless attorney that doesn't have a backbone willing to fight for his client, that I believe may be trying to coerce their clients, Krissy, into accepting a guilty plea in exchange for, I guess what, more probation? But folks, listen, that will ruin her life. It's bad enough that she's got this stupid possession of a plant. If she pleads guilty to this because she can't afford to fight it, because she can't find a good attorney, now we're talking about, even if she only gets probation, now we're talking about an actual felony that's going to be hard to overcome. It's easy for someone to go, oh, you're a felon, what'd you do? Oh, I possessed a joint. What? Really? That's it? But when you tell someone, oh, you know, I had been convicted of a felony and I was convicted of possession of a firearm by a felony, that's a little harder for people to swallow. Now, it doesn't matter to me because, quite frankly, I think if you're not such a danger to society that you're not in prison, then you should have your rights back. But I'm not going to get into that argument. Martha Stewart is a felon. She's never been a danger to anybody. She should have her rights back. So I believe that felons shouldn't lose their rights to begin with, but that's not the point. The point here is that out of a defense of necessity, she broke the law. She was a felon in possession of a firearm because she had a choice to make. I can be judged for grabbing a firearm and defending my life and the life of my unborn child, or I can be dead. Gee, what kind of a decision do you think that was? Pretty easy in my book. So I'm going to put in the description below a link to the GoFundMe. If you're on Facebook, you can go to my Facebook page right now. Because I'm driving, so I'm not going to be able to put the link in right away. But if you go to my Facebook page, you should see the link to her GoFundMe, ladies and gentlemen. Please help. Share this video. Krissy Tran is her name, K-R-I-S-S-Y. You can Google the story. Okay? This is not justice, what is being done here. This is not helping society in any way. This is, if anything, this is telling rapists it's okay to go out there and rape women as long as you know they're felons first, because then you don't have to worry about getting shot. This is telling thugs and criminals that you could break into this person's house because that person's a convicted felon for possessing a plant. Well, allegedly possessing a plant, but since she was convicted, that's what it was. That's not justice. It is not justice to tell rapists that it's open season on people who have been convicted of felons to rape them and threaten their lives and the lives of their unborn children. If you have any decency, if you have any understanding or sense of justice in this country, please help this family fight for their freedom. They are being pressured right now because they're poor. And the justice system is not for the poor, it's for the rich. If you don't have money, you don't get justice around here. So we need help. We need to get them money. We need to get them a good attorney that's going to fight for them. And that might be the attorney they have. I'm not saying that they don't have a good attorney. They just might not have the money to engage in the fight that is necessary. So please go to my Facebook page and click on the link, the GoFundMe for Krissy Tran, and help raise money for her defense. And I'll come back to this video. Please share it. And when I get home, I'll post the link below, and you can get to it from there as well. But I can't sit back and let this happen, folks. I can't sit back and let this young family get run through the ringer because they had the audacity to defend their lives. They're alive today, but they might end up in prison for doing so. And if they don't get a good attorney, I'm telling you, is there any more sympathetic defendant than a pregnant mother who defends the life of her unborn child from someone trying to rape and or potentially kill them after the rape? If we can get this to court, I can't think of a jury that would convict this woman. But we've got to get them a good attorney and good representation. If you know anyone in Arkansas that's a good attorney that will help these people and not rape them in a financial sense, she's already almost raped in a physical sense. But if you know of any attorneys in Arkansas that will help them, please let me know. And I will let them know. And I've asked to talk with their attorney. I've given the Tran family my phone number so that they can give it to their attorney. And I've asked that he contact us about what we can do to help fight for this family. But this is, it doesn't get any worse than this, folks. It really doesn't. And it pisses me off beyond belief that we have a government that would even entertain the idea of charging this woman for possession of a firearm in defense of her life. It's called a defense of necessity. You're allowed to break the law to defend your life. If I'm going into cardiac arrest, my wife is allowed to speed me to the hospital. She's allowed to run a red light if it's safe to do so to get me to the hospital to save my life. You can break the law to save your life. Unfortunately, you need an attorney to do that. All right, guys, be safe, take care, be free.